in the 90s, the safety program under the previous contractor, it was a reasonable safety program. At least I thought it was at the time, but now I know a little different. But what was different about it was, at that time, we were studying a lot about how to do things safely, but we were forgetting to involve the employee. And so the supervisors and the work planners, they go create tasks and they have the job briefing and say, here, go do it. And a lot of times the safety professional might be involved. Some of it, very few times, the worker would be involved. And back then, we thought it was okay. One of the problems with, or as FluorHanford came on board, they had a different mindset. Some of us who had been here for a while, they says, oh, they're too new, they don't understand how we do things. But really what Fluor was saying in the proposal was, we have a different way of doing business. And D.O.E., it took some time to work with D.O.E. to get them and us in the same path. FluorHanford saw a different way of doing things than what the previous contractor did, but the people within D.O.E. were still expecting some changes, but kind of in the same way that they were being done in the past. So they weren't used to as much change as what Fluor was expecting. One of the big changes was the safety rep program that you've heard about earlier. The previous contractor, again, that was something new and different. Something else that was new and different was the stop work process within FluorHanford. They did things very differently than what OSHA requires, what D.O.E. requires, and a lot of people weren't exactly comfortable with that. And what the difference was, OSHA and D.O.E. says if there's a stop work, or if there's an issue that's hazardous and you want to stop work, you have a right. And OSHA says it's only if you're assigned that work task, and D.O.E. says the same thing. But what FluorHanford was saying was, if you think there's a hazard, it doesn't have to be an imminent hazard like OSHA and D.O.E. say, but any job that has any hazard and anybody that's around, they can stop work. That kind of question and management philosophy, D.O.E. didn't exactly understand, and the management chain was having a hard time getting the employees to say you really do have that authority. And so that was one of the two of the areas as far as stop work and just that employee involvement side. Two things pop out of my mind on where Fluor came and why I think we were nominated for the Robert W. Campbell Award, and that was we have employee involvement. The program is not a safety department program. The program is not a management safety program. It's the company's, it's the employee's safety program. In the beginning, as I started here almost 30 years ago at Hanford, safety department people were where everybody came to for the answers. Now the answers are everywhere because employees are asked not only to find the problems before they start the work task, as they're designing the work package from the very beginning, they're involved. Before that was never there. So employee involvement, the employee safety councils, the openness of management to have anybody walk through the door. This particular organization covers that space, whereas others I work for and others that I have visited and read about, they may be good, but they're not this good. One of the stories that I have that portrays where Hanford was even before the previous contractor was stop work, and I've talked about stop work as FluorHanford has a very good stop work program. As I first came on board in 1980, I was not allowed as a safety professional to stop work. I had to go to a supervisor and have them then come out to the job site and stop work. There were specific requirements. In fact, I still have a piece of paper in my office still where I talked about that. That is an example of how far we've come, because now any employee can stop it immediately if there's a hazard. They don't have to go to the supervisor. They have rights that were nowhere close to where we were before. That is a key point that a lot of organizations have a hard time fathoming, because a lot of times they, well, the employees will take advantage of this responsibility. And in the beginning, there was a little bit of that, but with the cooperation of the union and the safety reps and the management chain, the people who abused the process, they were self-corrected. And it's not a problem, and that is an absolutely important, essential piece of why we're as good as we are. Stop work.